Now, before we look at the 5 different types of questions that will help you and your employees, your coaches, to keep moving forward, just a little bit of background. I have many quotations, and over the next little while, you'll hear me mention them. So Stephen Covey said it beautifully in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He actually said that if you don't let a teacher know at what level you are by asking a question or revealing your ignorance, you will not learn or grow. I'm going to repeat that. He said, if you don't let a teacher know at what level you are by asking a question or revealing your ignorance, you will not learn or grow. That's a really powerful statement. And for your employees and even yourselves now to get comfortable with asking questions and revealing your ignorance, it's going to take a fair bit of, stepping outside of your comfort zone and getting comfortable with letting people know, I don't know. And I find the longer I live, the more comfortable I get literally in saying, I don't know. With the software crashing just now, 10 years ago, I would freak out. I would like, oh my God, what are they going to think about me? You know what? It is what it is. I didn't choose for that to happen, and it just happened. So what do we do to fix it? We have to focus on, you know, what it is, what are the solutions, and you'll find that that's one of the 5 different types of questions to ask. So as leaders, and you're all leaders in your organizations, and you're all leaders because you actually have the ability to influence others, and that's what leadership is all about. Nothing more, nothing less. It's your ability to influence others positively or negatively, but it's influence. It's all about influence. So our coachees, your employees, your children, their parents, they're all our teachers. And so one of the secrets to developing people is that we now need to let these people know, help them become aware of their innate capacities. And we can only do so by asking key types of questions, because when you ask the questions and you marry it with silence, you're going to find that your coaches are going to give you amazing information, and this information you can use as a tool now that will facilitate their ability to grow, to develop, and actually be at their best. And that's how you end up, preventing resistance to change, preventing any sort of discord or misalignment with the goals of your organization. So question is a tool, and we do use it to move people forward. And if you think about it, when you look at these 5 different types of questions, and I should just bring them up right now. So the first one is a question that's designed to help people become aware of their assumptions. And we all lead with assumption. I know people who don't take action because they assume the end result already. So they didn't ask, they didn't check, they didn't clarify, quantify. They assumed that, oh, I won't ask my boss to, actually, here's a story. It's a powerful story, it's a true one. So I'm working with this children's center, and there are 4 individuals in the management team. So director, assistant director, and 2 supervisors. One of the supervisors she was in a serious car in crash and injured her back. And she actually works on the floor with the toddlers. And toddlers come in different sizes these days, right? And I think they've always come in different shape and sizes, but some of them are bigger than your average toddler age babies. And so she loves being with the toddlers, love it. That's her calling. But what she has found since the car accident is by like middle of the day, she is in excruciating pain. Her back is like ready to just collapse, give out on her. But she doesn't want to stop working with the toddlers. She doesn't want to quit being in childcare. She still wants to work as a supervisor in the children's center. So I asked her, so tell me, in your ideal world, right, in order for you to continue doing what you say you love to do, what would your work days be like, your ideal work days? And she described it. She said, I would work half the day with the children, so on the floor where she's with the toddlers, lifting them and so on. You guys know the routine. And then the other portion of the day, I would do some administrative work in the office. But I know my director, she won't let me do that. So I asked her, so why are you assuming that she wouldn't let you do that? Well, I don't know. I just think I shouldn't ask her that. It just doesn't seem right for me to ask her that. What's the reason? Why does it not seem right? So I probed and asked questions, create awareness, and you'll see the other types of questions. Finally, I took her down the road of solutions. So I said, these are two solutions that you've identified. You've shown the solutions to be a win-win. Not only will the solution benefit you, but it's going to still benefit the children because they still get to interact with you. And your director, it was known that she actually needed help and wouldn't mind actually being on the floor more because she wanted to get more physical activity and thought that she was sitting too much at her desk. So all of this was shared with the supervisor. And so one of the questions that was asked was around solutions. How would you prepare and present this proposal, so to speak, to your director to show her that this is a win-win? Long and short of the story is, rather than leaving her stuck with her assumption that it wouldn't work, challenged her to move into solution and taking action. And guess what? That's exactly what she's doing now. Half the time she's on the floor, the other half she's in the office. The director is out on the floor because she wanted to do more of that because she had actually missed it, want more activity, and it's a win-win all the way around. So the first question that we need to do with our coachees, or even when we're working with them, is get in the habit of listening to what they're saying and seeing whether they indeed are making assumptions. And when you pick up on the assumption, we'll show you how to use the W's. You'll become like journalists at the end of this. So that's the first type. Check assumptions. Your assumption, your coachee's assumption, right? And then the second one is create awareness. So what I did with this supervisor was point out the assumption to her, and you always do it in a very supportive way. When we do feedback, you learn the process of showing people what they're doing well first, and then showing them what needs to be improved upon, and then also challenging and working with them to follow through. So you got to create awareness of these assumption and of course the impact the assumption has on current state, current situation. Then you also want to ask different types of questions around, how else could people look at things, and also the just different possibilities that lie awake for all of us, or lie waiting for all of us. Okay, so awareness creation is really powerful. And then the other one is solutions, and I alluded to that. So you want to get people to set their assumptions aside and actually create awareness around, okay, what else could we do? How could I look at this differently? And that's how you start them to think about solutions. So you see this arrow, it just points you straight towards taking action. The fourth type of question that you need to ask the people with whom you're interacting, what needs to change? How do you create change, right? So the supervisor, I didn't just ask her to go and have a chat with her director. She needed to put together a solid case. She needed to know that when she is, you know, half the time in the office, there has to be someone on the floor in the event that the director herself couldn't be there on a specific day. And she already, the supervisor, had someone who was willing to step up and step into that other half day. So she looked at what needed to be changed in order for that goal of hers to become a reality. But the coaching process really helped her walk through, what are the assumptions here? What do I need to become more aware of? What are the possible solutions? What would need to change first? How do I create this change? And then the other one, the fifth type of question that you always ask people is action. So when will you do this? When will we meet again to follow up with each other? And bingo, that's exactly what the process was like. So she and I, we would meet every couple of weeks to do the coaching session. And within that period of time, all this was done. And as I said, the outcome was a win-win for everyone. So these are the 5 different types of questions we need to ask. When I opened up earlier with this session, I actually shared with you that many people, far too many people, spend too much time in the ditch of despair, the ditch of poor me, the ditch of it won't work. You guys know it. You've interacted with people, you've heard them, right? On and on and on it goes. When you ask questions along this continuum, these 5 different types of questions, you will find that those who dwell in the ditch and have gotten used to being in the ditch will now start to crave to get outside. They can get out, but you yourself need to be out of the ditch so that you can throw a rope. And the rope you're throwing them are the tools, the coaching tools, the coaching strategies that you've learned and are learning and are practicing so that you can pull them up, take them out, and keep them out of the ditch. Okay, so I always welcome any comments based on what you might hear me say here. I always, I love to have the interaction. So don't think that because this is an online course that you can't talk. This is a classroom, so feel free to raise your hands and ask questions as you see fit. So these are the 5 different types of questions. And for you to remember, the acronym that I put together is A-D-C-A, ADCA. So the first one is assumption, the second is awareness, the second is discover solutions, the C is create change, and the last A is action. You always end up, you're not coaching if your people are not taking action. All right, so those are the 5 different types of questions. So now you might be wondering, how do I integrate, using these questions in my everyday interaction with my coachees? And I should point out that on the site there are some materials, the different types, the 5 different types of questions. You have material there that you can print if you wish, or just house it electronically. And then the how do you ask the question, that one is there as well, plus another handout on questions as a reflection. Okay.